Boots Ennis moving up in this division, and there's certain names that have been brought up to his attention, and one of them, I believe, is Telus, the guy that you guys already fought. Tell me, what would you think about a fight with Jerron Boots Ennis and Telus? How would that look like in your eyes?
Uh, I think Boots is stopping him in about 8 rounds.
Yeah.
hmm
Wow. So Boots moves up in the division and stops that guy. Wow. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I think Boots is just. Telus is a decent guy. You know,
Hmm.
he's decent, but uh, Julian would have fought him 6, 7 years earlier. We wouldn't have had that kind of trouble. I ain't gonna try to make it out to be nothing that it's not. They got my guy at the right time, and it's just what it is. But I give him his props. He's a solid fighter, but he not on Boots level. And I
Mm.
mean, Boots was probably 80% of himself at 147. You know what I mean? Like making the weight and then trying to put it back on and then getting there, and then performing like that, especially under the IBF rules. That's kind of tough. His body would be filled out. I think he would beat Telus. I didn't hear about that fight, but if they do fight, I think he will beat Telus.
Right, because what Telus has what the WBA interim,
Yes.
right? So that he could exercise to get something like that to move up in the division, take advantage of his professional experience. Boots has more of it.
Boots just a better fighter. Telus is a solid fighter, but Boots is another level of fighter. After studying Telus and then going against him, he's decent. You know what I mean? He gets hit a little bit too easy. He don't defend the jab well enough. You can kind of see what he's about to do before he does it. Uh, um, I like Boots in the fight. But you got to fight the fights. He is a live guy. He is young. He is strong. He do got two hands. You can't take anybody for granted. I give him his respect, but if you're asking me who's going to win, I say Boots inside of 8.
Inside 8. Mm. Um, so obviously there was talks of Virgil Ortiz and Boots fighting, right? I think Turkey Alex Sheik wanted to make that fight happen. And now that he's moving up to that division, I believe that they tried to make it an offer, but I don't think Virgil's hand will be good enough. But that being said, there was also an interview. Shout out to YSM Sports Media for conducting that interview with Robert Garcia. Robert Garcia says that Boots' team needs 2 fights before fighting Virgil Ortiz. Hearing that, do you feel like it's more of a build-up, or do you feel like it's more like I need to get acclimated to the weight class to fight Virgil?
Well, Robert Garcia is Virgil Ortiz's coach, right?
Correct.
So how would he say Boots need 2 more fights? I don't understand that.
He was saying that he found out from a reliable source while trying to make the fight happen.
Oh, I mean, I don't really understand that comment. I would have to see it to get the context of it. But how could another coach say that the guy need 2 more fights?
Because they were trying to, so they're trying to negotiate with Boots' team, and I
So
guess
he's saying that Boots' team is saying that they need 2 more fights to
right,
fight Virgil Ortiz.
right,
Oh, I
right.
don't know. I don't know nothing about that. You know what I mean? I don't really know if that's true. That's coming. You have to ask Boots' dad or his manager or Boots. Did he say that he needs 2 more fights? You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
another coach could say anything, but you have to ask them
Yeah,
what they're saying. You know what I mean? I heard that they offered Virgil Ortiz to fight and his hand was messed up. So
right.
why would you need 2 more fights if you offered the guy to fight? I don't really know how that. I don't know how. I don't really understand why he would need a tune-up or 2 more fights. You have to ask them. I don't want to speak for nobody, but I don't understand that whole thing. If they offered him to fight, why would he need 2 more fights if Virgil Ortiz got offered to fight, but his hand wasn't healed or something?
Yeah. No, I hear you.
So who knows? Who knows? People can say anything, man. Who knows? I don't really know how that's you know what I mean? But I don't
So,
have an answer for that, man.
no biggie. Now, looking at the press conference for Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford, did you see anything in that press conference that intrigued you? I don't know. I know you don't get too much out of it, but I know that you are going for Terrence Crawford in this fight. I mean, after seeing and hearing what these fighters and trainers have to say, what do you think about the fight now?
Um, I don't know. They both veteran guys. It just seemed like there's two guys that's kind of like at peace with themselves. You know what I mean? Canelo's what, 34, Crawford is 37. They gonna be like 35 and 38 on fight night. They don't, people I see people getting mad because they had dinner together, but you don't have to act like a killer to be a killer. You know what I mean? Pro killers don't act all crazy and say all kinds of stuff on the internet and they want to fight each other all the time. Canelo's a killer, and he's gonna come and try to knock Crawford head off, and Crawford's a killer. He's gonna try to knock Canelo head off. So that's all I got from that. The only thing that's really super intriguing to me is Crawford's size. He looks big. Uh, Other than that, I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not. Once guys get to a certain point, I didn't see nothing different out of either one of them. You know what I mean? To like overly. I don't like to overanalyze. Sometimes when you do that, your mind can play tricks on you, and you can start seeing things and saying things that's just not true. So I don't really know. I just think there's two guys about to make a shitload of money, and they just don't feel like that they got to act all crazy the way like maybe a lot of younger guys would at certain points in their career. You know what I mean? When you get older, you get more like settled with yourself and you don't have to act all like that. You know what I mean? Sometimes I look back on some of the stuff I did in my 20s and early 30s and I was like, man, you should have handled that better. You ain't have to get all like that. You know what I mean? So you learn to handle things with a little bit more, little less emotions and bigger all the time. You know what I mean? So that's all I saw was two guys like, all right, I'm gonna have my game. I guarantee you they're not gonna be that nice come September 12th when they weigh in. They're gonna be ready to go. They're gonna be, spitting fire at that point. But it's June. I mean, what you gonna stay mad for 3 months? You know what I mean? So you gotta just be the fans and the casuals like that stuff. And I know you like that stuff for your content on your show, but that ain't no big deal to me, man. You know what I mean? I ain't that kind of stuff don't rise me up, man. Some of the biggest killers I know don't talk. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They just walk up to you and bust you upside your head, man. So I don't really get all riled up over, how somebody was acting 3 months before a fight at a dinner.
Right.
And
Oh
you
yeah.
don't even know if that shit be real, man. You know what I mean? You don't even really even be knowing, man.
Hmm.
It's just weird.
Twin, thank you for this $10. Why the hell would Virgil come out, explain his hand, and still hurt if Boots' team wanted two tune-ups? Shit don't make sense. Robert lying. It's obvious.
I'm not saying Robert is lying because I didn't hear the interview. I don't know what you're talking about with the interview, but whoever Twin is, he makes sense. Like I didn't understand the question. If Boots' team offered
I think it was two.
Virgil.
I think it's two separate negotiations that they're talking
Oh
about,
yeah,
though.
maybe I'm just confusing
For
something because
sure.
it don't make sense to me either. If the man moved up and he offered you a fight and your hand was hurt, which is a valid excuse, how would you need two tune-ups when he offered you the fight? So I didn't understand your question,
Right.
but I don't want to say Robert is lying because I'm not saying Robert is lying because I don't know what Robert said and how he said it and what he meant. But the whole question just don't make sense to me.
In the same time as like Virgil and Boots, they were in negotiations before that, though, right? They were
A
trying to
while
make the
ago. That was a while ago before the Stanionis fight when they wanted Boots to move up and then he wanted to unify. So I got that part. I understand the
right.
difference in those negotiations.
So maybe
But this,
maybe around that time, that was maybe where Robert Garcia was talking about.
I don't know.
You
I don't
know,
know. I don't know. I couldn't say. But I believe Boots is going to be really strong at 54
Some people were saying he's going to be regular. Why do you think he's going to be strong?
because I think he struggled to make weight. But listen, he was hitting on smaller guys and he did have on 8-ounce gloves. So we got to see.
Yep.
But You always got to see, but I've seen him in the gym, and when he's comfortable on weight, he's as good as a fighter as I've ever seen in the gym. Probably the best fighter I've ever seen in the gym. I ain't gonna lie to you. And then like when he's like not struggling to make weight and his just body is just comfortable, bro, he is brutal. Brutal, brutal. I'm telling you.
And
So
that's nice. That's nice to hear. But in the same time, me being around gyms, I've seen some great fighters in the gym that just can't really produce superstar. I'm not saying that Boots is not, because he is. He's showing up. But definitely curious to see what he got at 54. I think he does good at 54. I want to know if he's going to still be that monster at
we
54
gotta
though.
see. We gotta see. I'll tell you one thing, he has a very good attitude as far as like he got like an even kill type of attitude. Like he don't really like I like guys that are killers that don't have no picks. Cause that proves that you're a real killer. When you got picks, it's a little different. I've watched him box everybody. You know what I mean? So I've seen him box guys. Like sometimes it'd be bigger guys in there and all right, I'll box him. You know what I mean? So he got and he's not a big shit talker and stuff like that. You know what I mean? He got a real just we'll see kind of attitude. Not a bully, not a bully, but just a guy that's kind of like even kill. So I kind of like that than the guy that want to pick on certain guys and beat them up and then don't want to box the killers. He'll box a killer. You know what I mean? I've seen him box killer middleweights and do his thing. You know what I mean? When he was at 47. So we just got to see. You know what I mean? I know that it's different in the ring, no headgear, 10-ounce gloves, fighting the bigger guys. He might not get all of the stoppages that he was getting at 47, but I think he's going to be okay. You know what I mean? The guys will be a little bigger. He might have to wear him down a little bit more, but he's good at that. Like he didn't stop Stanionis with one punch. That was a beat down, and he didn't stop Vila with one punch. That was a beat down. So he has good stamina. I think he knows how to wear a guy down and get him out of there. So we'll see. You say he fighting Telus the first fight. That's a good barometer. I'm gonna say he gonna get Telus in about 8, but we got